We are Cory and Wallace, an early retired couple on a full-time journey around the world. With a passion for exploring new cultures, discovering hidden gems, and enjoying delicious local food, we are on a mission to experience as much of the world as we can.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
Hello from Oaxaca City.
We are here back in front of the Metropolitan Cathedral and in the Zocalo area. Reason for that is we are wanting to go see the archaeological site of Monte Albán, and we don't want to do a tour this time because the tourists here tend to spend too much time at souvenir shops and not enough time at the actual sites themselves. We don't want to rent a car, and getting a taxi there and back apparently can be problematic because it's really hard to get a taxi back once you're there. So from talking to some new friends of ours, we discovered that there is essentially a tourist bus that takes you from the center of town right to the gates of the archaeological site and back for only like 120 or so pesos per person, which is a perfectly reasonable price. So we have wandered down here today to try to find that ticket office to buy some tickets for a couple days from now. Also, while we're down here, about a block or two away, there's a couple of large public markets. So since we're here today, we're gonna go check those out as well. So let's get going. Our first stop in the Zocalo for bus tickets, they were 150 pesos per person round trip, and which is fine, that's not that expensive, but our friend Karen told us about the bus company she used. So we walked here. This is the Hotel Riviera, and they are partnered with a different tour bus company, and it was 130 pesos each. And so we've done that for Friday, which is 2 days from now. And the pickup point for the bus is only like 2 blocks that way and a block that way. And just to note, when you book the bus to go, you have to pick your departure time. So they leave every hour from 8 a.m. to I think 2 p.m. And then you can return from Monte Albán on the half hour anytime from 10:30 on. So that is open-ended. You basically have to choose your pickup time to go, and then when you're done wandering the site, you can basically get on any of the buses to come back. And as it so happens, the hotel we're at right now is literally across the street from the 2 markets that we wanted to go visit today. So that worked out pretty well. We are at our first actual destination today, and behind me here is the Mercado 20 de Noviembre, or the November 20th market. The name is homage, I guess, to the start of the Mexican Revolution. And this is one of the oldest, largest markets here in Oaxaca City. It was opened in 1882, and it's a big covered indoor market area with lots of vendors, food vendors, I'm sure souvenir vendors, that sort of thing. Should be pretty interesting, and it's supposed to be one of the must-see destinations here in Oaxaca City. So let's go in and have a look. Okay, Mercado 20 de Noviembre, almost entirely food vendors, like little restaurants, little bread shops, chocolate shops, that sort of thing.
Mezcal.
Yes, a few mezcal areas selling mezcal.
Not a ton of bread.
A ton of bread, but also like a ton of like grilled meats and things like that. Like you could smell just deliciousness in the air. So if you're hungry and you're looking for a really good, really cheap meal, this is probably the place to do that. Although I don't know how cheap it would be, honestly, because it's a little bit touristy here. prices are probably a little bit inflated compared to like actual local places, but it looked and smelled pretty good. Okay, so conveniently, right across the street from the Mercado 20 de Noviembre is the Mercado Benito Juarez, which is another of the oldest markets here in Oaxaca City. I believe it was built starting in 1894, and it's named after one of the first Mexican presidents. So we're gonna go hop across the street and take a look through there as well. Chapulines, or fried grasshoppers. I tried them, not a fan.
So the second market, basically anything you need, you can buy.
Yeah, what was there? There was like leather work, like belts and shoes. There was produce, clothing. Yeah. Produce, there was meat vendors, there was seafood vendors, which incidentally, that was the fishiest smelling seafood market I've pretty much ever smelled. So I don't think I'd shop there personally. There's a bunch of mezcal vendors, a whole bunch of other stuff, like pretty much general purpose, even like household cleaning products and like that, you know, janitorial supplies, that sort of stuff.
So I can see why it's popular. I can see why like the locals would shop here. Personally, for the meats and stuff, I don't think I'm quite there yet.
The meats actually didn't look too bad. They didn't smell too bad. It was just the fish section that was, yeah, pretty fishy. Everything else wasn't too bad. So again, if you are looking for a meal, the Mercado 20 de Noviembre is the place to go, and then Mercado Benito Juarez for pretty much everything and anything else that you need.
Good morning. And today we are headed to Monte Albán.
It's 2 days since we got our tickets, and we've taken a taxi this morning from our Airbnb to this meeting point here where we're going to catch this bus, and we're about 25-30 minutes early, so we're going to wait for 8 a.m., get about a half-hour bus ride. It's about 9 kilometers to the west of town, I believe, and then we are going to show you guys some pyramids.
Myself wondering what did happen to the last 10. I ran away with my life, fast forward, never turn back again. It's kind of funny that the more we pass time, the more we need to set them rewind. And 19 was the year I had to leave you, but now I'm seeing all the signs. Is this really happening? I can't believe it's true. I'm just
all right. That was about a half-hour-ish bus ride. We left about 10 minutes late. Honestly, bus ride was a little rough coming up the hill, but we are here at Monte Albán.
Yeah, I didn't realize how local the bus was. We were stopping, picking up locals the whole way up, so apparently it's just a local bus.
I don't know. I mean, it is a tourist bus company, but I think you were correct. I think he was picking up locals who work up here, like some of the shop vendors, employees, that sort of thing, were basically catching a ride on the way up.
Yeah, but we are here basically at the start, and there's at least 4 or 5 other tour companies that are also joining us. So I think this is going to be the quietest time of the day.
Yeah, it's already pretty crowded. But anyways, Monte Albán is a pre-Columbian, I guess, city that was built up here on this flattened top of a mountain that overlooks the city of Oaxaca now. I believe it was founded somewhere around 500 BC, so it's been here for quite a long time. And beyond that, we don't know too much about it. All I know is that this was basically an important center for the local Zapotec culture. And beyond that, we're going to go wander around. We've got a little bit of a self-guided audio guide that we've downloaded today. So we're going to go wander around, listen to that, as well as read the plaques that are all around the site. You can do guided tours here. There's plenty that you can book online. You can also hire a guide at the entrance here as you come in and buy your tickets. Oh, I should also mention, as per usual, it was 210 Mexican pesos per person for admission, and there are a couple of digital kiosks, so you can pay by credit card or you can go to the ticket booth and pay with cash.
Behind us is Tomb 104, and it was a residence and a tomb at the same time, which is very interesting. I don't think I've seen that before.
Yeah, all we can see here are the remnants. Like you can see, the kind of the foundation stones that kind of lay out the area, and it looks like it was like a multi-roomed residence. And I'm not sure if the tomb was underneath, because there are a couple of locked, I guess, hatches, for lack of a better term, that look like they might go down into a chamber below, and that's probably where the actual tomb is. Not sure, but yeah, this is just the first of many sites here that we've encountered, and so far it's looking pretty cool. Oh, also I should mention, according to the audio guide, so it's Monte Albán, so I've been saying it a little bit wrong, but the actual ancient name for this city is not known, because the Zapotec people actually abandoned this site long before the Spanish ever conquered this area. So there's no written records of what the actual ancient name of this area was. According to the map we've downloaded, this is Tomb 108, and it's a much bigger site, and again, multi-chambers or multiple rooms in here, but this one we can actually walk through, which is kind of neat. We are currently standing on the north platform here, and then way that way is the south platform way behind us. There's a sunken courtyard just down there, and then just that way are the north palaces. So they assumed they would have been essentially palace buildings for the rulers, royalty. We are currently walking from the north platform towards the south platform, and we're just down in this valley here that's in between, and we're just surrounded by what are essentially all temple complexes as far as I can gather.
Behind us is Building L, and they have a bunch of depictions of people. At first, they thought it was people dancing, but they've since redefined that to people suffering.
The area is called Gallery of the Danzantes, or Gallery of the Dancers, and yeah, I guess it dates back to the original relief carvings date back to 500 to 200 BC, but it's only in more recent years, I think like late 19th century, early 20th century, I believe, that the understanding is the depictions aren't of people dancing, it's carvings of the rulers or kings of nearby towns and villages that were conquered by the Zapotec, and it basically depicts them having been sacrificed. So definitely really gruesome. If you actually look closely at some of the carvings, they definitely depict some really like disturbing, almost grotesque features, genital mutilations and that sort of thing. So definitely not the happy, go lucky dancing that they originally thought in the early 19th century. According to the plaque there, all of these detached carvings behind me are actually reproductions. The originals were moved to the on-site museum here for preservation, but I believe the ones inside that chamber that we were just in that were actually still embedded in the wall, those are originals. That's a lot of stairs. We are now standing at the top of the south platform, and the south platform pyramid is the largest structure on this site. It's about 140 meters on each side and about 40 meters high. And to come up it, there was that 40-meter wide grand staircase that comes right up the center. And from up here, you get this really cool view of the entire complex, and it is just stunning. So we're at the northwest corner of the south platform, and you've got this really awesome view down looking at building L, which is where the gallery of the danzantes were, or was. Something else cool we just learned from the audio guide is that beneath the south platform here, archaeologists discovered some sealed tunnels and chambers that have yet to be explored, so they don't actually know what's under there. Probably tombs, but I guess we'll have to wait and see. Behind us right now is building J, which was built around 100 BC, and it is actually really unique here. Everything else, it kind of falls like along a grid line and is square or rectangular. This building is shaped like an arrowhead if you look at it from the top down, and it's also offset by about 45 degrees. And it was guessed in the 1930s and later confirmed that this was a stellar observatory where the Zapotec basically observed the position of the sun and the stars to perfect their calendar. And in fact, they were so accurate at it that the main door of this building, on the day of the zenith, when the sun's at its highest point over Monte Albán, the star capella shines right into that door along the sight line of the building, which, again, this was built in 100 BC. It just blows my mind that, you know, the Zapotec and the Aztecs and the Mayans were able to build things so precisely. It's incredible to me.
Yeah, it's taking me back to when we were at Chichen Itza. I can't even remember exactly. I remember going to the observatory and they explained it, but it was just like mind-blowing how accurate it is, and it just continues to blow my mind because they don't have the equipment we do today, and they seemed like they were a lot smarter.
We're back in the central, I guess, courtyard-y area that's between the south and the north platforms. And right here, there is part of the old aqueduct system. So this would have brought fresh water throughout the city. Also, I was able to overhear another tour guide. He was talking. That building right there, I don't know if you can see it, probably not. There's a little tiny window there, and apparently that acts like an aperture camera. So on a specific day of the year when the sun hits it just right, the sun goes through that window and it basically just completely lights up the chamber that's on the inside of that structure, which sadly we can't get to. The other cool thing here is that the Zapotec, just like the Mayans and the Aztecs, again, were really good at building things out of stone and building very accurately. So the acoustics here are really interesting. So from here, if I clap right now, you should be able to hear the echo of it as it bounces off all the stone that's basically surrounding us on all four sides. And it can sound kind of like a bird calling or something along those lines. So let's see if it works. That's pretty cool. Behind us is the main ball court. Now, according to the audio guide, there was 6 total. Was it?
The audio guide, I think, Yeah, and then I heard a tour guide also say 6.
So there's 5 others in the surrounding area, but this was the main ball court just off the main plaza. Unlike other ball courts found in Mesoamerica, this one didn't have the stone rings on either side up high, which was essentially the goalpost. So they don't exactly know how this one was played. Each region had a different variation of it, but basically it would have been 2 teams of players hitting a ball made out of like solid rubber pitch and hitting it typically with just their hips to keep it in the air and forearms, no hands. And yeah, it was I guess kind of like a ritualistic type of sport, because typically either the winning team or the losing team, I can't remember which, and sometimes it varies, would get sacrificed to the gods. So
in Chichen Itza, I remember it being the winner got sacrificed. I don't know if that is the case here, and I think it's highly debated because nobody actually knows.
Yeah, there's not exactly written records of that kind of thing, just, you know, glyphs and pictograms and things like that. Still, this is really cool. The ball court itself is roped off, but if we were able to get down there, you'd be able to do that same clapping thing where it would echo off the sides of the stonework as well. So at the entrance to the site, there's also a small museum, and this is where all the original stone carvings and pieces are that came from the site. So again, the Gallery of the Danzantes, those were all replica pieces, reproductions. These are all the originals in here. What I would suggest is coming to Monte Albán first thing in the morning. Try to avoid most of the crowds, and also see the site early so you avoid the heat of the day. And then by the time you're done, you know, right now it's like 11:30. It's getting hot, so now do the museum. It's inside, it's shaded, it's got a little bit of AC, and it's much cooler before catching your bus back into town.
And the guides that you can hire here, they seem pretty good. We've overheard a few of them talking. You probably get a lot more out of it than our kind of DIY, but we kind of just enjoyed the pace of just doing it on our own this time.
Yeah, because we've been here over 3 hours already, and from what I gather, the guided tours are about an hour, hour and a half, and they cost approximately 600 to 1,000 pesos for a small group of, I think, 2 to 4 people, if I'm not mistaken. We don't know for sure because we didn't actually ask, because we just used a self-guided audio guide tour, walking tour that we downloaded online, and we'll make sure to link that down below. Before we get back on our bus to get into town, there's actually 2 more tombs that were actually just below the main site, just behind where the buses all park. So we decided to go check that out. Also here, literally right behind where the buses park, is one of the smaller ball courts. It doesn't look like it's been excavated as well, because as you can see on both sides, it's still all covered in grass and dirt and stuff. But yeah, so we've now seen 2 of the ball courts. This one here is tomb number 105. And again, it's a residence with a burial chamber located below the patio. So we're gonna go wander up and take a closer look. The tomb up here isn't much. You can't really see a lot because it's all fenced off, but there is a viewpoint here that you can see part of the city behind us. That is going to do it for our trip here to Monte Albán. This site was really cool. Like I said, it was established back in 500 BC, and from what I can gather from the reading I did, it was abandoned around 850 AD, though they don't actually know why the Zapotec people left. There's no records of that, but still, this place is really cool. What did you think?
I think it's really cool. I would not recommend doing a tour. I would recommend doing it on your own time. I think if you did it as like a group tour, it would kind of take away from it because you wouldn't have enough time here. That's just my personal opinion.
I fully agree.
But 100% you have to come. This place is stunningly beautiful and just kind of mind-blowing actually with like what they were able to accomplish way back. All the sites that we're like continuing to see and how old they are, it's just crazy.
Yeah, agreed. This place is awesome. So the historic center of town in Oaxaca City and the archaeological site of Monte Albán combined are a UNESCO World Heritage site, and it is very easy to see why. This place is fantastic. If you come to Oaxaca, you have to visit this place.
Couldn't agree more.
Anyways, that's going to be it. We are just going to sit around, wait a little bit, and catch our bus back into town. So we're going to end this video here. Thank you very much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this video. If you did, please hit the thumbs up to give us a like. Make sure to subscribe.
And join us in our other videos for more adventures. Until then, stay curious and keep exploring.